Well, hello, my friends. Welcome to another episode of Empire Secrets. This week is Empire Diaries, which I bring you behind the scenes of my business and how I'm building Brand Magnetic to its first million. Thanks for following along. I love to hear from you guys. Just yesterday, I was chatting with someone who said that they had listened to one of my podcast episodes 3 times because it was that good. Specifically, it was the episode I did with Lena on SEO. That's a couple episodes back. So if you are into SEO, make sure to check out that episode. I have to remember to tell Lena because that is such a wonderful thing to hear that somebody listened to your interview 3 times and took a ton of notes. So, anyway, I wanted to get you caught up with what I'm working on. I'm working on 2 things specifically. There are like 2 goals this month of October. And so by the time you listen to this, we'll be kind of towards the end of the month. And hopefully, I will be way further ahead in both of these goals. But I'm really excited to say I've made some progress, especially on the first goal. The second goal, I need to really carve out more time. But the 2 goals this month, the 2 like big focuses are I'm launching my Evergreen funnel this month. And I'm going to break down exactly what I'm doing step by step and how it works, like in the strategy of my business. And the second thing I'm working on is my Black Friday promo. And so this year, for the first time ever, I'm going to be offering 5 days of deals on Black Friday week. And I could not be more excited about it. I am super stoked. I know that I have to do a bit more warming of my audience, making sure that I'm seeding it. I'm doing it right now on the podcast, of course, but I want to make sure that I get a little bit better at my email game. I don't know if you feel like this when you are so heads down in building, it's so hard to remember to like bring yourself back up, create social content, show up, write your emails. So I feel like I've been showing up in a bunch of different groups that I'm in, but I have not been as consistent. What else is new with my socials and my emails? That has to shift. I am definitely, out of summer mode. I am definitely in lock in mode. And so let me start by talking about that first thing. And then after I talk through the 2 priorities, the 2 big things on my plate right now, I want to share something else that happened yesterday. I got on a call with multi-millionaire business owner. He's exited out of multiple businesses. I think one of them in the billion-dollar range, and something really revelatory about that conversation. So I've been noodling a lot about how that conversation went and what it made me feel and what it made me happy about. So I'm teasing it right now because I want you to stay till the end of the episode to listen to that part of it as well. But first, I'm going to walk you through the 2 things I'm working on. So number one, as I said, my Evergreen funnel. So for my Evergreen funnel, I had first thought that I was simply going to run ads to a webinar. And my goal, my sort of thought process at the beginning of the month was I'm going to pre-record this webinar and then I'm just going to run ads to it, straight and simple. But the more I got to thinking about it, the more I thought that, up rates are really low. I'm going to be calling cold audiences into a live event, which is really, really hard, but also undoable, not the end of the world, very doable. As I'm like detailing this, I'm like, did I overcomplicate things for myself by not just doing exactly that? And the answer is I don't know. But I did prepare my webinar and I'm super excited about it. I've talked about it on the show. I'm like so stoked with the new perspective shifts that I'm focusing on. I'm so stoked with how amazingly timely what I sell is for this day and age where trust is extremely low, where people are craving human connection, where we're flooded with AI content and AI bots talking to us. And I am so excited that we are humans built to interact with other humans because that's what my business bets on, which brings me to the conversation with this man that I mentioned earlier. But I'll circle back to that in a second or once I'm done. But anyway, so I don't know if I overcomplicated things for myself, but I made the decision that I wanted to tease people or grab people with something less of a lift, if you will, than my training, which again, I don't know if that was the right decision, but I went with it. And so what that turned into, which I'm super excited about, is that I created 2 new starter offers, two new ways to come into my world that are kind of a no-brainers. One is a low ticket offer and one is a freebie. So I'm going to tell you about both and how my thought process was on each of those. So I'm going to pause for a second because I am taking notes every single day religiously on my 1% diary. And no, this is not a commercial break, but Stephen Bartlett's 1% diary is so amazing. I love, love, love it. I feel like I'm going to be using this for years to come in my business. And the reason I'm bringing it up is because I take notes religiously on everything I do now. And part of the reason I do that is because I always have this feeling that I just don't get a ton done. I'm always looking at what I didn't do, what I didn't finish on time, what I didn't accomplish. And as I'm like retelling you about my evergreen funnel strategy, I'm realizing like, dude, I have been doing a lot. I have created two new offers from scratch. And so, anyway, back to what I created and why. I first started with a low ticket offer. I knew I wanted to create something that would. So here's the purpose behind the two things that I created. One, I obviously wanted to give people a quick win. I wanted people to, obviously associate me with something amazing, successful, that was like mind blowing. That is the goal of every lead magnet. In fact, I have two lead magnets that I always reference that I think are the best lead magnets I've ever come across. One is Heather Sager's 17 phrases that convert, or maybe it's 19 phrases that convert. And then the other one is Gemma Bonham Carter's 100K launch emails. Both of those to me are like holy grail lead magnets that really brand these two ladies for me. And I think do an amazing job of warming people up to their brand because they are incredibly valuable and free. So get people in your world and like astonish them is the whole point of the lead magnet. So I wanted to do that both with a low ticket offer and with a lead magnet. So the low ticket offer that I created is called, drumroll please, the Instant Yes Machine. And the whole, I spent hours coming up with that name, by the way. So it didn't come to me, the first name that I thought of. I love that name, but I went through many, many iterations. I almost settled for the undeniable positioning tool, which sounds terrible. So anyway, after working with chat for literally hours, there was a whole afternoon where I spent like 2-3 hours just chatting with ChatGPT on my phone at the beach and going for a swim thinking about these names. So naming is a whole thing. I really do think that a great name is you're halfway there in terms of marketing. So anyway, so the Instant Yes Machine is doing so well right now. It is a tool that's trained on my trust triggers framework, my Emmy-winning storytelling skills, and Eugene Schwartz, aka the best copywriter in the world. And so it's trained on these three things. And what it does is it helps take your intro, your about me page, your bio, whatever you use, whatever people who are coming into your universe for the very first time, what are they reading about you? And that is what you put into chat. How are you introducing yourself? Okay. And so this is my first tool that I've released that I'm so excited about. I've not been as excited. I mean, that's not true. I've been excited about so many of my other tools, but this one is just like blowing it out of the park. And I'm getting such amazing reviews about it. So I'm super excited to launch it. If you want to check it out, it's brandmagnetic.com/yesmachine. And so I'm in the process today of finishing building out that funnel so I can start running ads to that low ticket offer with an order bump, with an upsell, all that good stuff. The second thing that I built was this freebie. So the new freebie is called my 600% launch formula. And what that means is this is how I increased my launch revenue, actually my launch profit, by 600%. And the purpose of both these tools and what they both do is not only give you, again, a quick win, but they indoctrinate you into my world. The biggest perspective shift that I want to give people is there's a part of this customer journey that we are ignoring. And that is the very first moment that people interact with your brand. with your person online. And what that means is when people hear about you, when they read a comment about you, when they see you somewhere and they're intrigued, the first thing they're going to do is check you out. They're going to go to your socials. They're going to go to your website. They're going to read your About Me page. They're going to look at what's pinned on your socials and kind of navigate and read your little intro, your bio. And if you are not capturing people in that moment, if you are not making an instant connection, if you are not building trust as soon as they meet you, you are then positioning yourself like everyone else, in which you're going to have to fight to be heard above the noise. And that's where the volume play comes in. That's where the exhaustion comes in, and people having to fight to be heard. You do not want to do that. Position yourself so that you can pre-sell people before you've even pitched them. And that is the entire purpose of the Instant Yes Machine. And the freebie, the 600%, my 600% launch formula, explains how I did this and explains the trust triggers, and it leads people to purchase the Instant Yes Machine. It's only $27. So it's a really easy yes offer. Pun intended. And so it's an instant yes offer, and it gets people into my world. Now, the Instant Yes Machine, the way I built this custom GPT is that it seeds my offers. It talks about my frameworks. It mentions my name. It tells you where to go to get help, to take the next steps. I'm actually going to reprogram it so that it leads people to the webinar inside the tool. And that's all super cool. In fact, it's making me think I should have somebody on the show that talks about how to do that, because I kind of winged it. I kind of figured it out, but I'm guessing that there's a way to do this that's even better. So let me write that somewhere on my Post-it notes. Get someone show seed offer inside of custom GPTs. Okay, next. So I talked about those two things, and now I launched the 600% launch formula with ads yesterday. And now I'm working on launching the Instant Yes Machine low ticket offer with ads. And my goal is to finish that by the end of this week, which is challenging because I'm traveling on Friday. I'm recording this on Thursday. So it's going to be challenging to get this done, but I will do my very, very best, because I also have to work on number 2, my Black Friday 5 days of deals. Now, I've kind of told you about this one already, so I'm not going to go into it too much, but I will leave a link in the comments for the program that I'm using, which I'm super excited about. This program is amazing. It's called Black Friday in a Box, and I could not be happier with like the step-by-step entire process of this program. And so if you want to do it with me, if you want to join me, I'm offering a free WhatsApp group. There's a bunch of us are working on this right now, and I would love to have you there. So if you join using my link, just send me a copy of your receipt and I will get you in the group. There's not much to say there, except for there's a checklist of things that I need to do every single week, because my goal, pink nail emoji, is to have this done by the end of the month. So I can go into November with everything Black Friday already ready. Super excited. All right. And so last but not least, I'm going to tell you about this conversation that I had with this guy yesterday. So as I mentioned, he is a multi-million-dollar exited, several businesses person. I don't want to tell you too much about him because it was a private conversation. I don't want to share too much. But what I do want to share is that as I was telling him about my business, his mind was working obviously in the way that he thinks about businesses and how he helps people scale their businesses. So what he told me was very much framed with that in mind, and he did frame it really well with that in mind. And the thing that got me thinking is that there are so many different versions of success. And two things actually. So before I go into that, the first thing that came out of that conversation with him was like how awesome it is, how enlightening it is to be around people who think 10x, who think in a much bigger scale. Like I was speaking to someone who had already been through what I'm going through multiple times decades ago, and who was on the other side of that. And he even told that story. He's like, I've built businesses from the ground up, and it's so freaking hard. And so this is why nowadays he talks a lot about M&A, mergers and acquisitions. Like, how can you just buy a business that's going to solve so many of your problems? So you don't have to build them from scratch. You can acquire a business and all of a sudden have a bunch of problems solved kind of overnight. Sounds too good to be true. I'm sure overnight is an exaggeration, but this idea that you can acquire and solve for problems. And anyway, before I go into the version of success, I'll just say that just speaking to somebody who is at that level is so enlightening and helpful to remember that I'm not stuck where I am right now. Like I can talk to people who see a bird's eye view of what I'm doing. And it's really helpful for me because every time I feel like I'm working really hard, I try to ask myself, am I doing this to have incremental growth? Or is this really a foundational piece that needs to be built in order to have a 10x growth? And I think it's so easy to get caught up in doing the busy work that is not actually going to move the needle by that much. So I'm very, very cautious of what I'm building right now. And it made me like stop and think and be like, am I truly invested in the actual things that I'm doing right now with my day? So that was number one part of that conversation. And then the second part, the second sort of takeaway that I had from it was this. And by the way, just to give a bit of context, I was chatting with this man because I am negotiating a speaking opportunity and I would like to, I'm pitching myself as a speaker for his event. And so we're in the process of negotiating that. And so the second thing that came about was that everyone's idea of success is so different. And so in some worlds, success means acquiring a different business and having more team members and having more clients, which I would say most people's version of success involves more clients, but maybe not. Some people's version could be like, if I have 5 clients, I'm great. And that's where they want to be. And I think that for me, I am so certain about what I want to build and what I don't want. I don't want to have a massive team. I don't want to manage and lead a massive team. I want a small team. I do want a team. I want more team members. I do have a great team right now. I do feel like in the future, I'm going to have a CEO. I'm going to have a manager, like an online business OBM. But I do not want a massive team. I want my brand video system, brand video accelerator business, my online coaching program business to scale. I definitely want that. And that is like a very easy to scale business. It's not a hard business to scale in the sense that there are proven frameworks to scale this business, which is what I'm working on right now. And then I want my done for you brand video, high end brand video signature business to scale to a certain extent. So I want to ultimately have 5 clients a year, maybe more than that at first, while my pricing is still what it is right now. But over time, my pricing is going to go up and I'm only going to take a certain number of clients per year. And so that's my version of success. I want to run a business where I'm not needed 24/7. I want to run a business where I get to enjoy the creative work when I'm working with my high-end clients. I get to show up for my students only as much as I want to. There's going to be other people that are trained and helping them more in a more immediate basis. And that's what I want, that's the business I want. And so I don't want to acquire another business. And I think that was so interesting for me to be reminded that I don't need anybody else's version of success. And by the way, he was not being pushy in any way. So I want to be clear on that. But I think in the past, I used to be more vulnerable to conversations like that and being like, am I doing this right? Like, shouldn't I want that? And now I'm just like, no, I really don't. I am very clear on what I want and how I want it. So that is my desire for you this week, that you really consider what kind of business do you want to build? What is the life that you want to have? And how can you build your business to support that life? How are you building your business so that you can have exactly the life that you actually want to have versus the life that somebody else might think is a great life or the life that means success? Hope that's helpful. I hope that's insightful for you. And again, I love hearing from you. If you're listening to the show, if it's bringing you joy, if it's making you think, please let me know. Write me at Brand Magnetic on Instagram. I'm also on LinkedIn, Mariana Henninger on LinkedIn. And I'd love to hear your takeaways from this week's episode. Have a great time. Before you go, make sure that you check out the Instant Yes Machine. I could not be more excited about this tool. And you can grab that at brandmagnetic.com/yes machine. And I'm going to give you a coupon code for 50% off if you want to check it out. And the coupon code is going to be Empire Secrets. Instant Yes Machine. I'm sorry, brandmagnetic.com/yes machine, and use the coupon code Empire Secrets for 50% off. And I would love to hear your thoughts on it. If you want to let me know what you think, how it worked for you, I would love to hear it. I'm also collecting a bunch of other testimonials to add to that page and super excited about it. All right, my friends, I will see you on the next Empire Secrets. Bye for now.